for this game, if there was any definition of a trap game, this was it. Just, yeah, literally the same thing that happened last year against Seattle. You know, Lions had the big Week 1 win last year, completely didn't show up against Seattle. This year, Lions had the big Week 1 win last week against the Rams, and this week against the Buccaneers. The offense completely didn't show up. At least the defense did, which that's good. That doesn't help, though, when the offense completely shits the bed. Man. Just a pretty disappointing game overall. Especially when it was Aidan Hutchinson's best game of his career. Before we talk about that, though, let's talk about what else happened in Detroit sports this week. And also, rest in peace to Joe Schmidt, legendary Lions linebacker that passed away earlier this week at age 92. You know, rest in peace to him. He lived a good life. That's for sure. Just, it was his time at age 92. Oh, and it sucked. It still sucks, regardless of what the age was. We're going to go to the one Detroit team that actually lived up to their potential this week, and that was the Tigers. Well, there's a first for everything. As the Tigers had a pretty successful week staying in the playoff race. They got 2 big wins against Colorado, but failed to get the series sweep as they lost the last game 4-2. All I say is I hope to God that one loss to Colorado doesn't come back to bite the Tigers in the ass at the end of the year if they miss out off by a game or some shit. Like, honestly, the Tigers probably should have swept to Colorado, but didn't. Especially when 2 of their wins were blowout wins, like an 11-0 win and a 7-4 one. But they got at least 2 out of 3 against the Rockies, which was one of the main goals, either that or a sweep. And then Baltimore, it was a very tough series against Baltimore, but the Tigers did what they were supposed to do, which was get 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, and they did exactly that. Tigers sit within 2.5 games out of a wild card spot behind Minnesota. And you also got Boston and Seattle right on your tail. Like, you really can't control what anybody else does right now, but the only thing the Tigers can control is what they can control. What they can do. You know, just control what you can do. And then whatever, and then if you get outside help, so be it. You know, should never have to rely on outside help, but it is what it is. But yeah, now the Tigers, they got 2 very tough series coming up next week in their last big road trip of the year, with the 3-game series in Kansas City next week, and then a 3-game series in Baltimore next week before they end the year off at home. So yeah, we have 12 games left. For the Tigers on the road against Kansas City and Baltimore, if the Tigers can get 2 out of 3 against Kansas City and Baltimore, I think they're in a really good position to possibly sneak into a wild card spot. Because for the Tigers to make it on a wild card, they effectively have to finish 3rd in the AL Central or better. Probably 3rd. And Kansas City's going to be a tough series since the Royals are still playing for the AL Central title with Cleveland. It's going to be a pretty interesting and tough 12-game stretch to end the year. But it's kind of interesting and weird to see the Tigers in playoff contention this late in the season. But hey, could the Tigers possibly back into a playoff spot? We'll find out in 12 games. Now to the Lions game. Let's just get right to this. Like, it's pretty clear what was the main reason for this loss. 100%, this loss was 100% on offense and coaching. Like, the defense had no part in this loss. The defense did their fucking job. Like, defense did their job. I mean, you can't argue that the defense was at fault. Especially when Aidan Hutchinson had 4.5 sacks on the day, which is like 2nd most in Lions franchise history. Like, had a generational day, a generational performance, especially in the first quarter alone when Hutchinson had 3 sacks in the first quarter alone. Like after that first quarter, like, you knew Hutchinson was gonna feast today and he was on a mission today. It's like, yeah, great performance from Hutchinson. Too bad the rest of the offense didn't get the message. Plus, Hutchinson's performance is also part of the DJ Reader effect, with DJ Reader finally making his debut in a Lions uniform after sitting out last week with injury. But yeah, since Raider took all the double teams, leaving Hutchinson one-on-one, and Hutchinson's hard to block one-on-one unless you're intentionally holding him and hope the refs don't call you for it. But yeah, Hutchinson had a great game. The offense, though, not really. Just offense got completely shut down. Like, especially against a Tampa defense that was banged up to hell and back. Like, no Calicio can see. The secondary was banged up. Hell, even Vita Vea left the game with a knee injury. And the Lions offense still couldn't do much. Like Ben Johnson's play calling was fucking terrible in this game. Goff played like dog shit again. Of the two Goff interceptions, the first one 100 wasn't Goff's fault, because that first one should have been a pass interference on the defense. Because seriously, how the fuck is J-Mo getting choked out from behind? Not pass interference. Like, yet Terry and Arnold playing the ball in the air is pass interference. Yeah, vintage NFL inconsistent officiating at its finest. NFL officiating. What Terry and Arnold did was pass interference, but choking J-Mo out from behind? No, that's not pass interference. Not at all. At least J-Mo responded the very next drive with a 50-yard bomb as a middle finger to the officials. But yeah, also the Lions were very ineffective in the red zone. Like, I'll say this. You're not going to win many games in this league if you're only scoring 1 touchdown and 7 trips in the red zone. Like, especially when the Lions production in the red zone was very effective last year. And this year it has not really been that well to start. But yeah, the Goff's second interception, that one was 100% on him. Like, what the fuck was Goff thinking throwing in the middle of the field? Like, if you're gonna throw it away, throw it near Allen Ron, throw it to the sidelines. Why the fuck would you throw it down the middle of the field in, like, double, triple coverage? Like, just a horrible throw. Like, either that or just take the sack. Because you're still in field goal range for Jack Fox. And then also Dan Campbell, their miscommunication at the end of the first half, when they couldn't get the team, when the kicking team came on when they weren't supposed to, while they were spiking the ball to stop the clock, which triggered the 10-second run off to end the half. Like just off the second Goff interception and the Dan Campbell special teams and offense miscommunication, that there alone cost the Lions 6 points, which ended up being the difference, since the Lions only lost by 4 in this game. So yeah, Lions had some chances, but completely shot themselves in the foot. Like, this could have been a winnable game, but the Lions offense shot themselves in the foot. And the offense literally wasted Aidan Hutchinson's best performance of his career. Just pretty disappointing overall. Just a very disappointing game performance from the Lions. At least on the offensive side of the ball. Not much to complain about on the defensive side. But I'll just say this on the defensive side, Aidan Hutchinson can't be the only guy that's getting to the QB. You know, like, the only real issues defense had was, like, the big touchdown run from Chris Godwin. Like, you can't leave somebody that wide open and not expect to get burned. That, and also some issues in the second half with containing Baker Mayfield. That just seems to be the one issue with the Lions defense every year. It's just how much they fail to contain a mobile QB. And that failing to contain them ended up costing them in the end. And despite that, and offensive inefficiencies. And also on the last play of the game, why the fuck is Jared Goff throwing for a first down instead of at the end zone on the last play on a Hail Mary with no time on the clock? Like, if it's the last play of the game, throw for the fucking end zone, damn it. And hope for the best. Like, no time on the clock, and you need a touchdown to win the game. Throw for the end zone, damn it. Just, like the offense needs to be better. Ben Johnson needs to be better with play calling. At least Dan Campbell took ownership of what happened in the first half, that miscommunication. You know, a lot of shit that needs to be cleaned up on the offensive side of the ball. At least Amon-Ra had a bounce-back game from its performance in Week 1 after the Rams completely shut him down. Just in the end, that doesn't mean anything without the W. But yeah, like the Lions need to clean up a lot of things. Like they can't, like you can't just waste performance from Hutchinson like that. Because Aidan Hutchinson, he literally had the most sacks by a player since what? That 5.5 sack game from William Gay against Tampa Bay in 1983. Like Hutchinson came within 1 sack of tying the Lions franchise record for most sacks in the game. Too bad Hutchinson didn't get that tie that record. Would have been cool to see Hutchinson do that and really rub salt in the wound out of Michigan State and Ohio State fans in the Lions fan base that have been calling Hutch a bust since the Lions drafted him. All I say to those fuckers is furthest thing from a bust, bitch. But yeah, just a pretty disappointing game. Like, you know, just literally like the start of last year. Had a big Week 1 win. Don't completely show up at all for Week 2. Like, literally, it played out the same as last year. You know, last year we started the year off playing 2 playoff teams from the year prior. And last year was Kansas City and Seattle. Lions went 1-1 in those games. And this year we started the year off playing LA and Tampa Bay. 2 teams the Lions faced in the playoffs last year. Lions go 1-1 in those wins. Plus, let's be honest, there was no way the Lions were going 17-0 this year. They were gonna lose. Like, I had the Lions going 13-4, so they were gonna lose. They're gonna lose some games. They were gonna lose a couple games this year. So it's best to get that first loss out of the way early in the year and then refocus. You know, I think 100% a humbling experience for the Lions. You know, now it gets that 17-0 talk out of the way. Now they can just refocus and play football starting next week. Like offense needs to get fucking better. The defense has been doing their job the first 2 weeks. The offense needs to fucking step up. Especially Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff needs to start living up to that potential of the big extension he signed in the offseason. And I do trust that Goff will get better. I do trust the offense will get better. And here's the one good news, though. It's only Week 2 of the season. The season isn't 2 weeks. It's 18 weeks. And we still got a long ways to go. The season's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And hey, in the NFL, it's any given Sunday. Any good team can have a bad day. Lions offense just had a bad day. I mean, just look at how many upsets we had in the NFL in the 1 o'clock slate of games alone. Like, you had the Raiders knock off the Ravens in Baltimore. You had the Vikings injured the hell and back knock off the 49ers. What else we have here? You also had the Colts lose to a Green Bay Packers team that was starting Malik fucking Willis, who sucks ass. And you also had the Cowboys get completely shit-stomped at Jerry World by the Saints of all teams. So yeah, proof right there. You know, any good team can have a bad day. In the end, this was just a battle of grit today, and Tampa Bay just came out stronger, wanted this game more than Detroit. You know, just Detroit got outplayed and outcoached at the end of the day. And Tampa, you know, and make no excuses about it, Tampa Bay earned this win fair and square. So, hey, congrats to the Bucs on the win. You know, well deserved by Tampa Bay. You know, Tampa has a pretty good squad here. Like, I'll be honest, though, I think that NFC South could go to Tampa Bay once again. Especially with how weak that division is right now, because I think the Saints are going to probably have the bottom fall off at some point. But yeah, right now, I'd say the NFC South is still Tampa's division to lose. Since Baker so far is living up to expectations for once. But yeah, just, you know, pretty disappointing game from the offense. Like, Lions should have, like, there were chances for the Lions to win this game. The offense didn't take advantage of it. Just too many things, too many mistakes, too many costly penalties that cost the Lions in the end. But yeah, which this is pretty disappointing with Hutchinson, especially with the game Hutchinson had. In the end, Hutchinson's 4.5 sack performance wasted by the offense. The only thing the Lions can do now is just, refocus, move on, and get ready for Arizona next week. That's all I gotta say. I'm out.